In the heart of the Arabian desert, more than 400 years ago, the city of Makkah stood as the religious, cultural, and commercial hub of Arabia. Its towering Kaaba drew tribes from across the peninsula. Its leaders, the Quraysh, were powerful, wealthy, and deeply respected. But it was also a society steeped in idolatry, injustice, and social inequality. It was here that the final prophet of Allah, Muhammad, was born, raised, and chosen to deliver the last divine message. But the moment he began to call people to Islam, Makkah transformed from his beloved home into a place of hostility, oppression, and unimaginable hardship. Why did the Quraysh, who once respected him as Al-Amin, the trustworthy, turn against him? What fears and motivations fueled their persecution? And how did the Prophet and his small group of early followers endure the cruelty and survive against all odds? This is the story of why and how Prophet Muhammad was persecuted in Makkah, a story of truth clashing with falsehood, of light struggling against darkness, and of unshakable faith that changed the course of human history. The setting of Makkah before Islam. To understand the persecution, we must first understand Makkah itself. Makkah was not just a city, it was the spiritual heart of Arabia. Every year, thousands of pilgrims came to visit the Kaaba, a sacred sanctuary that had been built by Prophet Ibrahim and his son Ismail. But over centuries, the pure worship of Allah had been corrupted. More than 360 idols surrounded the Kaaba, and rituals of polytheism dominated. The Quraysh, the custodians of the Kaaba, enjoyed immense power and wealth. Pilgrimage brought them trade, respect, and political dominance. Their social order was built on tribal loyalty, hierarchy, and oppression of the weak. Slaves were beaten, women were mistreated, and the poor had little voice. Into this society came Muhammad ibn Abdullah. Known for his honesty, kindness, and integrity, he was loved and admired. They called him Al-Amin, the trustworthy, long before prophethood. He lived among them for 40 years without a single lie or betrayal. So why would these same people later try to crush him and his followers? The answer lies in what Islam demanded: a complete transformation of their lives, beliefs, and privileges. The first revelation and its shock. At the age of 40, Prophet Muhammad retreated often to the cave of Hira, seeking solitude, reflection, and truth. It was here that the first revelation came. The angel Jibril appeared, commanding him, "Read in the name of your Lord who created." Terrified yet awestruck, the prophet rushed home. His wife, Khadija, R.A., comforted him and reassured him that Allah would never abandon him. Soon, Khadija took him to her cousin, Waraka ibn Nawfal, a Christian scholar who confirmed that Muhammad had received the same divine message as the prophets before him. But with this message came a mission: to call people away from idolatry and injustice, and to submit to the one true God, Allah. For 3 years, the prophet called secretly. A small group of people accepted Islam: Khadija, Ali ibn Abi Talib, Zayd ibn Haritha, Abu Bakr al-Siddiq, and others. But when the command came to preach openly, everything changed. Why the Quraysh opposed him? The Quraysh were not ignorant of Allah. They knew he was the creator of the heavens and the earth, but they refused to abandon their idols, wealth, and traditions. So why did they fight Muhammad so fiercely? The Kaaba was filled with idols representing tribes across Arabia. Destroying them meant ending a profitable system. If people embraced Islam, the Quraysh would lose their monopoly over religious authority and pilgrimage trade. Ego and pride, tribal pride, blinded them. How could Muhammad, an orphan without wealth, be chosen as a prophet? Fear of social change, this threatened the elite who thrived on inequality. Attachment to tradition. Islam's call to abandon ancestral traditions enraged them. Thus, their opposition was not due to ignorance. It was rooted in arrogance, greed, and fear of losing control. When Prophet Muhammad climbed Mount Safa and called the Quraysh together, he asked them, "If I told you an army was behind this mountain ready to attack, would you believe me?" They all said yes, for they knew he never lied. The reaction was explosive. His uncle Abu Lahab shouted, "May you perish! Is this why you gathered us?" He became one of the fiercest enemies of Islam. From that moment, persecution began, mockery and insults. They ridiculed the Quran as tales of the ancients. Children were incited to throw dirt and stones at him. He was called a liar, even though he was the most truthful. His own tribe, the Quraysh, turned against him. Family ties were severed. Neighbors insulted him. Psychological pressure. They begged him to compromise, worship idols one year and Allah the next. But he refused firmly. To you, your religion, and to me, mine. Once, while praying at the Kaaba, Abu Jahl placed the intestines of a camel on his back until Fatima, R.A., rushed to remove them. He was strangled, beaten, and mocked in public. Yet he always responded with patience and dignity. The persecution of early Muslims. The Prophet was protected somewhat by his tribe, Banu Hashim, but his followers, especially the poor and slaves, faced brutal persecution. Bilal ibn Rabah, RRA. He was told to denounce Islam, but he only repeated, Ahad, Ahad, one God, one God. His faith became a symbol of unshakable belief. Ammar ibn Yasir and his family. His mother, Sumayyah, R.A., became the first martyr in Islam when Abu Jahl stabbed her for refusing to renounce her faith. His father, Yasir, R.A., was tortured to death. Khabbab ibn al-Arat, R.A. A blacksmith, he was forced to lie on burning coals until his back was scarred. The early Muslims endured unimaginable suffering, yet their faith only grew stronger. When mockery and torture failed, the Quraysh tried new tactics. They offered the Prophet wealth, women, and kingship if he would abandon Islam. He replied, "If they put the sun in my right hand and the moon in my left, I would not abandon this call." They forced the Prophet and his family into a valley, cutting them off from trade and marriage. For 3 years, Muslims suffered hunger, eating leaves and bark. Children cried from starvation, yet the believers endured. Violence and assassination plots were made to kill him secretly. Assassins were hired, but Allah protected his messenger. Persecution reached its peak when the Prophet lost his beloved wife Khadijah, R.A., and his protective uncle Abu Talib in the same year. Without their support, Quraysh's cruelty intensified. Heartbroken, he traveled to Taif seeking refuge, but there too he was rejected and humiliated. The children of Taif pelted him with stones until he bled, yet he raised his hands and prayed not for revenge, but for their guidance. This patience and mercy showed the true character of Allah's final messenger. Patience leads to victory. Despite years of hardship, Islam prevailed. Truth challenges falsehood. The Quraysh feared Islam not because it was weak, but because it was powerful and just. Mercy even to enemies. The Prophet forgave those who harmed him, setting an example for humanity. Prophet Muhammad faced unimaginable persecution in Makkah. His followers were tortured and killed. And from this small group of persecuted believers in Makkah, Islam grew to become a global faith followed by billions today. The story of his persecution reminds us, faith is not easy, truth is not always welcomed, but with patience and trust in Allah, victory will always come. So let us hold firm to our deen, draw inspiration from their sacrifices, and never forget the price that was paid so that we could be Muslims today. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more Islamic stories and history.